My friends, I have come to tell you something urgent, something eternal. We were not made to be merely good. We were made for something more, something higher, something great. You see, good is comfortable, good is safe, but good is not enough. The road to greatness begins when you feel that restless stirring in your soul, that holy dissatisfaction that whispers, so many today are living lives of quiet good. They're fine. But I ask you, were we put here on this earth to survive? No, we were called to shine, to lead, to rise. Vision transforms effort. You may sweep the floor, you may work in silence, but if your hands are guided by a vision greater than yourself, if your labor is an offering, then even the smallest task becomes a step toward greatness, and not toward greatness. When your eyes are fixed not on applause, but on purpose, your work becomes worship. But listen, greatness doesn't come from fleeting emotion. It comes from discipline. Day after day, decision after decision. When the lights are off, when no one is watching, will you keep going? Will you press on? Greatness is forged in secret and revealed in time. I tell you now, your talent may open a door, but only your character will keep it open. We live in a world obsessed with image, but image fades. Talent grows tired. Popularity passes. Only character stands like a lighthouse in the storm. And I must tell you this, the great are not the proud. They are the servants, the ones who kneel before they stand, the ones who help before they lead, the ones who understand that humility is the highway to honor. But here's the heart of it all, the fire must be within you. If you're waiting for the world to light your flame, you'll live in shadows. But if something deep inside you burns, if you feel the call, the urgency, the mission, then no storm can put it out. So I ask you today, will you settle for good or will you press on to great? The choice is yours. The clock is ticking. The world is waiting. Because good is the enemy of great, and too many souls have settled at the foot of the mountain when they were called to climb, to rise, to ascend to something higher, but they looked at their hands and said, this is enough. They looked at the applause of men and said, this will do. They looked at the comfort and ease and approval and routine and said, I will pitch my tent, not knowing that greatness was still calling, still crying out, still waiting at the edge of their obedience like a lion pacing at the border of the forest. And the tragedy is not in failing to be great. It is in never even trying, because good felt and good never carve your name on the hearts of generations. Good will never make hell nervous or heaven rise to its feet. Good will never demand your all, and so good becomes the slow death of destiny. And some were born to build but settled to borrow, born to lead but chose to follow, born to roar but lived to whisper, because the world handed them good like a shiny trophy and said, congratulations, you've arrived. But deep inside they knew they had only just begun. They had barely tasted purpose, barely scratched the surface of their capacity, barely opened their mouths to speak, and already someone said enough, and they believed it. And I wonder how many gifts lie buried under the ground, not because of failure, not because of rebellion, but because of contentment with good. Because good was manageable, controllable, respectable, and great was unpredictable, great was lonely. Great was a wilderness that asked you to walk by faith and not by sight. Great was the place where God called but did not explain, where he led but did not map. And so good became the excuse that built the prison. And still greatness calls through the quiet, calls through the noise, calls through the ache in your bones and the longing in your spirit. Greatness calls not with a shout, but with a whisper that won't leave you alone, not with a spotlight, but with a burden, not with fame, but with fire. And if you listen closely, you will hear it beneath your busy calendar, beneath your polished performance, beneath your well-ordered days. Greatness knocking like thunder wrapped in silence. And I am here to tell you that as long as you keep choosing what is easy over what is essential, what is common over what is consecrated, what is comfortable over what is calling, then good will continue to choke out your greatness like weeds choking a garden, like fog covering a sunrise, like fear robbing a promise, and you will live a life that looks right but feels wrong, that seems full but rings hollow. And the moment you choose to step beyond good, beyond the applause, beyond the crowd, beyond the script, in the midnight prayers and the unshakable yes to something bigger than you, and that is where the shift happens, where the heavens open and the earth shakes. Not when you chase great, but when you leave good behind. And if you want that, if you feel it stirring, if you hear it breathing in your chest, if you know you were made for more than just surviving, more than just fitting in, more than just keeping up appearances, then I say today is the day to tear down the altar of good and light the fire of great. Today is the day to trade safety for surrender, approval for assignment, comfort for calling, and with trembling hands and a burning heart declare, I will not settle for good. I will rise toward great. Because when a person moves without vision, they may still sweat, they may still strive, they may still grind and labor and push through their hours, but without vision, they become like ships without a compass, like arrows without a target, like voices shouting into an echo chamber with no response. Because effort without vision is motion without meaning, activity without aim, and the soul begins to sink even as the body moves, because it was never about how hard you work, but why you're working in the first place. And vision, true vision, is not a daydream or a fantasy or a motivational quote on the wall. It is a fire from another world, a glimpse of heaven's blueprint etched into your bones. It is a weight you cannot shake, a cry that will not be quiet, a burden that turns ordinary effort into sacred pursuit. And the moment vision arrives, effort is no longer a chore. It becomes worship, no longer just routine, but revelation. No longer just surviving the day, but seizing the eternal woven into the now. And when vision takes hold, the janitor sweeps like he's building a cathedral. The teacher's like she's raising a generation of prophets. The mother rocks the child like she's holding the future of nations. Because suddenly, every action carries the weight of eternity. Every task echoes with purpose. Every breath belongs to something beyond this world. And what once seemed small becomes mighty because it's tied to vision. And that's why without vision, people perish, not just because they die, but because they dry up, wear out, lose hope, lose themselves in the endless cycle of doing without meaning, achieving without fulfillment, reaching without satisfaction. And vision breaks that cycle like light breaking through night, like a trumpet sounding in the dark, reminding you that your sweat is seed, your labor is legacy, and your story is a sentence in something much greater. And I tell you this, when vision lives in your heart, rejection can't stop you. Delay can't discourage you. Failure can't define you. Because you are no longer moved by what is seen, but by what is coming. You are no longer serving man, but serving mission. You are no longer held hostage by how hard the journey is, because your eyes are locked on the joy set before you. And that joy makes the pain holy, the struggle sacred, and the process worth it. And even when the crowd is gone and the applause is faded and no one sees the hours you put in, vision will be your oil. Vision will be your fuel. Vision will keep you up when you want to lay down, keep you walking when you want to quit. Because vision transforms effort into endurance and turns sacrifice into seed that multiplies long after you're gone. And if you've lost your strength, maybe it's not your body that's weak, but your vision that's blurry. Because effort gets tired, but vision revives. Effort gets weary, but vision awakens. Effort counts the cost, but vision sees the reward. And if you can see what it's really for, then you can do anything, carry anything, become anything, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. So I say, open your eyes, open your heart, open your spirit to see again, to dream again, to believe again. Not in your strength, but in the assignment, not in the grind, but in the glory behind it, not in the task, but in the testimony it's building. Because vision is what separates those who survive from those who shape history. And if you've got that vision, you've already got the victory. Because emotion will get you started, but only discipline will carry you through. Emotion is the spark, but discipline is the flame that keeps burning long after the feeling fades. Emotion can lift you in a moment, but discipline will build you for a lifetime. And too many have built their houses on the sand of excitement and wonder why everything crumbles when the wind blows, because they were moved by feelings, but never anchored by a standard. And emotion says, I feel like it, but discipline says, I said I would. And in a world chasing after comfort and instant gratification, those who choose discipline over mood become rare, become dangerous, become unstoppable, because they are no longer guided by how they feel, but by what they vowed, no longer tossed by the waves, but grounded in resolve. And the man or woman who decides to do what's right, whether or not they want to. Oh, that's the one who makes it to the finish. And the truth is, your emotions are real, but they are not always right. They are loud, but they are not always leading you to life. And if you live by emotion, your journey will look like a roller coaster, up one day and down the next, passionate one week and burned out the next. Excited to begin, but never strong enough to indiscipline is what draws the line and says that we keep going. And we show up anyway. We pray when it's dry, we work when it's hard, but we love when it's hard, so we love when it hurts. And don't misunderstand, emotion is a gift, yes, but it was never meant to be the captain of your soul. It was meant to follow truth, not lead it, and discipline is not cold, It's not robotic. It's holy. It's freedom and structure. It's peace and consistency. It's love proven through action. When the fire fades, discipline becomes the altar where the flame is rekindled over and over again. And when others are ruled by mood swings, you are ruled by mission. When others chase what feels good, you chase what bears fruit. When others quit because the thrill is gone, you stay because the purpose remains. And that's the difference between those who start fast and those who finish strong. Between those who talk about it and those who walk it out day after day, step by step until the breakthrough comes. And yes, there will be days you don't feel it, don't see it, don't hear anything from heaven, yet you move forward, not because of hype, but because of honor, not because it's easy, but because it's right. And every time you choose to obey instead of delay, every time you choose to act instead of excuse, every time you choose to stand instead of shrink, you're building something unshakable within yourself. And that is why the great are not always the loudest, not always the flashiest, not always the most emotional, but they are the ones who show up, who keep showing up, who keep rising, keep pressing, keep digging, because they have trained their soul to bow to their spirit, trained their hands to build even through pain, trained their mind to run with purpose, and that training becomes power that does not waver with the wind. So today I call you to rise above your feelings, rise above your moods, rise above your fleeting passions, and choose the path of discipline. Not because it's glamorous, but because it's godly, not because it's popular, but because it's powerful. And in the end, when all the noise dies down and the dust settles, it won't be emotion that sees you through. It will be discipline that carried you into greatness. Because talent may get you noticed, but only character will keep you trusted. And this world is loud with gifted voices and fast with rising stars, but too many fall, not for lack of ability, but for lack of foundation. Too many shine for a moment, then disappear in disgrace. Because they built high without digging deep, they mastered the spotlight, but never tamed the shadows within. And what you build with talent can collapse in a moment if character is not the cornerstone. And the truth is, talent is flashy, talent impresses, talent draws crowds and applause and opportunity, but talent alone is a trap that outpaces your maturity. If it runs faster than your integrity, it seduces you into thinking you're untouchable when your soul is still unfinished. And you can fool the world for a while with charisma, with charm, with performance, but you cannot fake character, not forever, because the cracks will show and what's hidden will be revealed. And character is not built in public, but in private, not on stages, but in silence, not in moments of victory, but in the long, unseen hours of wrestling, repenting, rebuilding, and learning to choose right when no one is watching, to speak truth when lies are easier, to stay humble when success comes knocking, to say no when your flesh screams yes. And talent may be born in you, but character must be forged in fire. And the fire doesn't ask if you're ready. The fire really doesn't feel fair, but the fire reveals what's real. And if you'll stay in it, not run from it, not escape into excuses or ego or blame, then the fire will burn away the pride, the shortcuts, the compromise, and leave something behind that no platform can give and no failure can take. Because character is not just what you do, it's who you become. And when you become something unshakable, you will be trusted with something eternal. And hear me, talent without character is a gift without a guardrail. The car without brakes, a storm with no anchor. And we've seen too many rise quickly and fall hard because the vessel couldn't carry the glory, because the weight of favor crushed the unprepared soul. And God in his mercy sometimes delays the promotion, not to punish you, but to protect you, not to deny you, but to develop you. Because what he wants to build through you, he first must build in. And that's why your greatest victories may never make headlines, may never trend, may never get the crowd on their feet. Because they happen in the quiet decisions, in the moment you chose patience over power, truth over popularity, purity over pressure. Because every time you choose character over convenience, you are laying down bricks that last. You are becoming someone the world can't buy and the enemy can't. And there is a kind of greatness that does not shout, does not demand, does not parade itself. It simply stands quietly, firmly, faithfully, unfazed by storms. And when the winds blow and the waves rise and the world watches to see who falls and who stands, it will not be the most talented who endure. It will be the most rooted, the most tested, the most honest, the most true. So if you have to choose to build your name on faithfulness, not fame. Choose the slow road of obedience over the shortcut of performance. Choose the deep over the wide, the clean heart over the clever word. Because at the end of the day, when the crowds go home and the lights shut off and it's just you and God, character is what will still be standing. Because in a world that tells you to rise by pushing others down, to lead by demanding, to win by dominating. I have come to tell you a kingdom truth that flips the order of power on its head. That if you want to soar, you must first serve. If you want to lead, you must first kneel. If you want to go high, you must first go low, because in the economy of heaven, the path up is always through humility, always through brokenness, always through the towel and the basin, not the throne and the crown. And the great mistake is thinking that serving is weakness. That service is background noise while glory lives in the spotlight. But I tell you, the ones who kneel in secret are the ones trusted with influence in the open. The ones who sweep floors with excellence are the ones given keys to doors. Because when you serve without agenda, without seeking applause, without trying to be seen, you are building a foundation that greatness can safely stand on. And yes, you may feel hidden while others are praised. You may feel overlooked while others are promoted. But do not despise your season of servanthood. Do not curse the place where no one sees you, because God sees and he is watching. Now how high you climb, but how deep you bow. And he will raise up those who choose the way of the basin over the throne, the way of humility over hustle, the way of giving more than taking. And when you serve, your heart gets stretched, your pride gets stripped, your motives get tested, and that is not punishment. It is preparation. It is purification, because the higher the calling, the lower the posture required to carry it. And many want to fly, but few are willing to wash feet. Many want the mic, but few are willing to carry the cross. Many want the crown, but few are willing to bear the weight of compassion in secret. And I tell you, the true soaring doesn't come from striving. It comes from surrender, and those who serve with joy, who love when it costs, who stay faithful when it's unseen. Those are the ones who rise on wings like eagles, not because they chased promotion, but because they carried purpose. Not because they grabbed for greatness, but because greatness was given to those who proved they could be trusted with the... And that's the test. Can you be excellent in obscurity? Can you serve with fire when the room is empty? Can you pour out your best when there's no promise of reward? Because if you can do that, then you're not serving man. You're serving mission, and mission which flows from love, not ego. From vision, not vanity, then heaven begins to take notice, and the lifting comes in ways you didn't see coming. And even when others mock your humility, when the proud pass you by, when the fast get ahead, you stay grounded in grace. You stay anchored in the truth that the lowest seat at the table is the one where character is formed. And when the time is right, the last will be first. The servant will be the steward. The hidden will be revealed, not because they demanded it, but because they were faithful when no one else would. So serve like it's your destiny. Serve like heaven is watching. Serve like greatness depends on it, because it does. And one day when you soar, not by force, but by favor, not by pride, but pride first, you'll know that the reason your wings are strong is because your knees were first bowed low. And in the kingdom, the servants are the ones who fly. Because if the fire is not within you, no amount of praise around you will keep you going. No stage, no spotlight, no recognition. No applause can sustain a soul that has lost its flame. Because when the lights go out and the doors close and the crowd leaves and the night comes, and no one is cheering, it is the fire inside that will either burn bright or fade. And too many are waiting for a spark from the outside when heaven is calling them to ignite something on the inside. And this fire I speak of is not hype, not emotion, not fleeting excitement. It is conviction, it is calling, it is the slow burn of purpose fused to your bones. It is the refusal to quit when quitting feels easier. It is the holy unrest that won't let you sleep, won't let you stay in shallow places, because something deep within keeps whispering, keep building, keep praying, keep fighting, keep going, even if you're going alone. And when the fire is within, criticism can't quench it, rejection can't drown it, failure can't bury it. Because it's not about feelings, it's not about feedback, it's about a vision that consumes you, a burden that chooses you, a flame that God himself lit in the secret place. And once you've been set on fire from within, you stop looking for permission from people and start running with purpose from heaven. And I must tell you, many will carry torches that were handed to them by others, but the moment the wind blows, those borrowed flames die out, because what is lit by man must be maintained by man. But what is lit by God cannot be extinguished by circumstance. And if you are truly going to endure, truly going to rise, truly going to shake the ground you walk on, then your fire must be your own, birthed in prayer, forged in discipline, and guarded like treasure. And this world will try to douse it with distraction, with doubt, with delay. It will try to smother your flame with busy schedules, with comfort zones, with fear of failure. But I say fan the flames, stir the embers, return to the reason you began. Cry out again for the fire that fell in the early days, and don't stop until your heart burns hotter than the trials you face, because fire from within doesn't shrink in storms. It grows hotter, brighter, stronger. And do not expect everyone to understand your fire, because lukewarm people will always be uncomfortable around those who burn, those who live with intensity, with vision, with holy obsession. But don't dim your fire to make others feel safe. Don't tone down your call to fit into rooms that were never built to contain you. Because when the fire is within, you are not called to blend in. You are born to blaze through. And I speak this to your spirit. When the fire is real, you stop chasing motivation, start living on mission. You stop needing to be pushed and stop pressing forward, because something inside you is louder than the noise around you. And while others are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel strong, waiting to feel qualified, the ones with fire move forward, fueled not by certainty, but by faith, by the knowing that what is burning in them is greater than what is against them. Let the fire be within, pure, unstoppable, untouchable, not dependent on seasons or applause or open doors, but burning because you said yes, because you refuse to settle, because you carry something sacred, and when that fire is truly alive inside of you, you won't need a platform to make impact, because wherever you walk, the ground will feel the heat, the darkness will feel the light, and the world will know someone on fire is passing.